Okay, so this is the project. We're going to take this sword here, the Conan the Barbarian Atlantean Sword, and put it up on the wall. This is the case. I've opened it up, but I have not unpacked it. So we're going to unpack that in a second. And it is going to go and hang right here. We're going to get rid of Drunk Monkey here. Do something with these cables. Cables got to go. And right behind this curtain here, there will be a Conan Atlantean Sword inside of a case. Now, somewhere up here, and maybe over here, down here, will be these comics here. Conan the Barbarian number 1. Conan the Barbarian number 24, first full Red Sonja. And Savage Sword of Conan number 1. I like these because all three of these have white pages. Now these are going to go in UV protected glass. This has UV protected glass, and then I've got UV protected acrylic in these cases here that are going to frame these 3 books. So that all is going to get hung, and we're going to see how it turns out. Okay, so we're going to do the unboxing of this and see what's in here. First thing, I got string swing, which I guess is supposed to be for guitars, but this is going to hold up the sword. So the sword will sit on that, just like a guitar stand designed to hold the sword. And I checked the sizes, so get rid of that.
Okay, so while that's being unpacked, let me tell you about where I got this case. It's from sfdisplay.com out of San Francisco. It cost about $200. I think I actually paid about $180. It's a great display. They sell a lot of other display cases for collectibles, but this one for swords, fantastic.
These lock, and it holds it shut. I can open it, and some more styrofoam inside. That. And then I got the nice red backdrop. You can see the red. So cool.
Next, let's put the UV to the test, see how good it is.
92, can you see that? 92.8% UV protection and 98% infrared. That is interesting. We got some UV protection, over 90% UV protection on this.
Okay, so let's take a look at this sword here, see what we got. Just slide the sleeve off here. Get into the case underneath. Let's open this bad boy up. Wrapped in plastic with some styrofoam. It's very well packed. Hard plastic covering on the tip. Look at that. So nice. Grip feels great. So the sword here was a birthday gift last year from my wife. I can't tell you exactly where she got it, but I can tell you where you can get one. So this is sold by Museum Replicas Limited, and you can get that at museumreplicas.com. They have the Atlantean Sword, they have the Conan's Father Sword, Valeria's Sword, and a few others that you can pick up. I think ballpark is $400 to $500 for those swords. My wife got me a really awesome birthday gift. I was pretty stoked, and I still am stoked. Now let's just see how this looks in the case and figure out our placement. This document talks about care and maintenance of your sword, telling you to keep it well oiled, how to remove rust, plus useful safety tips like don't try to chop trees with it, it's not an axe. Or don't swing it around, it could slip out of your hands. Conan's gonna have to borrow some tools from his buddy Thor, because what we need is a teeny tiny Phillips bit, and that I happen to have in this Mjolnir toolkit.
Okay, so these are super teeny tiny screws.
So these are the mounts for the back of the display case. You do have to attach them yourself, but the pilot holes come pre-drilled for you, so that's nice. These screws are so small, they're not going to hold a heavy amount of weight. So the weight of the sword is going to be held by that guitar clamp. This is just to hold the display case, and then it'll have additional support from the center of that hook going through the case, holding it firmly to the wall. The hook that holds up the sword is going to go all the way through the display case. So I need to make a hole at exactly the point where I want the sword to be placed. So I'm figuring out where the sword is here, and I'm measuring and double measuring exactly where I want that before I drill the hole. Because once I drill the hole, that's it. That's where the sword is hanging.
Okay, pay attention. Before we hang this, we got to find the stud. If we don't find the stud and hang this on securely, then it's going to come crashing down and fall probably on a kid, and that would be bad, so let's not do that. Okay, so that string swing, that's going to go right in the stud, right down the middle of the stud. And then those anchors with the teeny tiny little screws, those are going to be up and out, and that's what I'm measuring. I'm measuring from the stud where the weight is going to be out and about how far to where those anchors are going to be for the studs. So we're going to have wall anchors because they're just going to be hanging right up the drywall.
That was just me drilling the holes for placement. Now I'm going to actually install the drywall anchors. And then, of course, the screws that go into those anchors. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Will the holes line up? Will the anchors fall off the wall? Will it be level? Yeah, I don't know why I thought this would hang successfully on the first try. Obviously, that is not going to happen here. I know you want to get to the sword being hung, so let's just use some video editing magic and skip ahead to the good parts. Close enough. I'll take it.
So now I'm going to install the string sling, which is what's going to hold up the sword. That's where all the weight is, and that's what we've drilled into the stud. Let's see how that goes.
Now, why is it not closing?
Okay, so we hit an unforeseen problem. The door doesn't close. So now I gotta figure out where the sling string is too deep for the case. Now it all came together in one piece, but I guess the sling string is adjustable and you can make it deeper or shallower. I don't know, I gotta figure this out.
I guess it's time to go back and review the instructions for the string swing. So I got the name right. Thank you. Of course, I cut it into pieces, so that's going to make things difficult. But basically, I'm just going to fiddle around with it until I can get it to fit.
All right, here goes.
After performing a bit of sorcery on the string swing, I'm taking a second shot. We'll see if the door closes this time. The string swing is weighted for items up to 15 pounds, so we're just going to make sure that the sword is not heavier than that so it doesn't land on someone's foot, take the whole thing off the wall. And it looks like the Conan sword is 7 pounds, 15 ounces, so I think we're safe. Now I've made the string swing as shallow as I can make it. It is adjustable. Hopefully this time when I put the sword in here and try and close the door, it'll actually shut. That would be nice.
And look at that! The door actually closes now. So there's a lot of oil on the sword that we gotta wipe. You do have to oil a sword or it will rust. This is gonna require regular maintenance to keep this clean. Like I'm gonna go in there, open the case, oil it every so often. Right now it's got plenty of oil on it, so it's good for a while. It came that way. but I'm gonna have to do this regularly because that's gonna dry up, especially in the desert. Ooh, and this is the fun part where I get to peel the sticker off the glass so you can actually see what's in the display case. Peel it down. So much fun. I'm easily amused. Okay.
Now I'm going to open the comic book frame. I'm using a scraper, which is not really the tool that you would use for this task. You should be using a box cutter. I'm going to give up on this scraper very, very quickly. It is not the tool for this. And I don't really know how to use it. You can see that I'm messing up badly here. So let's just skip ahead. I am going to be using my favorite Era Correct comic frames, which you can buy at eccframes.com. These are the economy comic frames. They're about $75 each. They are 100% made in the USA, 99% UV resistant, and they look phenomenal. I'm going to have to turn this ring light off so you can see, but this is a Conan the Barbarian number 24, first full red Sonia. 9.6 white pages. This book is nearly perfect, except for a little tiny bit of wear in the upper left-hand corner, and a slight overwrap is the only real flaw, and that's visible in the white strip that runs down the left side. If not for those flaws, this would be a perfect book. Love it. I bought this from Harley at the first ever Las Vegas Mini-Con, which is a tiny little show they do in a warehouse district in like a little garage. There's like a dozen dealers. Very cool thing. Harley invited me out to it. I didn't know about it. Came out and bought a bunch of Conan books. This is one of the ones. You can find Harley at harleyrarecomics.com. The price on this when I bought it in 2020 was $450, though Harley gave me a deal because I bundled it with some other things. Today, the estimate on this is $960. So thank you, Harley. Great deal, great book. I am now opening ECC's Economy magazine frame, which is about $10 more than the comic frames. I don't know if you can still get this. I'm looking on their website and I'm not seeing it. But this is the one I wanted so it would match my other comic frames. I have a lot of other ECC frames besides the ones for the Conan. So I wanted them all to match. This incredible book, Savage Sword of Conan #1, was gifted to me by my wife on my birthday along with the sword. She got it from Doug Sulipa of DougComicWorld.com, and he made an extra effort to get it here by my birthday. This is a beautiful book, 9.6 white pages, really hard to find magazines in this condition. You can see that these frames hold their books in securely via these 4 screws. Now, just how secure those 4 screws are would kind of burn me later on, but I'll tell you that story at the end of the video. For now, it's time to show the Conan #1. I won this comic from Saucon Valley Auction. The pictures didn't really do it justice. When I got it in person, I was just amazed at how vivid the colors are. It's a Conan the Barbarian #1, 9.0 white pages. $500 I got this for. Now this comic has been selling for twice what I paid for it recently, so if you're not checking the auction sites regularly, you're gonna have a hard time finding great deals like this. Look how good this looks in the frame. It's gonna look even better on the wall. Speaking of which, I think we should probably get to that.
I'm gonna fast forward a lot of this because there's really not much to see here. I'm basically measuring, poking some holes, making sure that things line up. It's really just hanging a painting at this point. Don't really need to do a DIY video of hanging a painting, do I? I hope not.
Give me back my sword or I'll be forced to cut you with my dagger.
No need to threaten me, Conan. It's just a replica. And here it is, the Conan Atlantean Sword hung in the display case as planned, along with the 3 key Conan books. I gotta say, it looks pretty damn good. Unfortunately, I don't own a Conan comic signed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but one day, it's on the list, it's on the wish list. One day I'll get one. Yeah, there's actually a lot of Conan stuff on the list. I know a guy who would lose his mind over the fingerprints on the black comic frames. It would literally drive him nuts. But they don't bother me. They really don't. Once I turn these floodlights off, you're not even gonna notice it. What does bother me, however, I did not do a perfect job, as you can see by the bonus holes that I left in the wall. My wife is gonna really love these. I guess you could say it's ventilation for the comic books. I will fill these in later, but for now I am done. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so story time. I told you that those 4 screws in the back were gonna come back to bite me. Well, I'm at the Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con. So it's the Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con. Roy Thomas is there. Roy Thomas, writer of many of the Conan stories. The first one included an adaptation of all the Robert E. Howard stories, but a lot of original stories too. So Roy Thomas is there. Legend, right? Comics legend Roy Thomas is there at the Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con. I think I have the comic with me. I think I have Conan #1 with me. I thought I did. I pulled it out, and I thought I pulled it out, but I didn't. So I go to the show, and I'm digging through the books that I brought to get signed, and it's not there. I go, uh-oh, and he's not going to be there the following day. It's a 3-day show, but he's not going to be there Sunday. He's there for Saturday, and he's leaving. So it's about 45 minutes before the show ends, right? Like, or before he leaves anyway. He says, I'm leaving at 6:30, and it's like 5:45 or 5:50 or something like that. Something like that. It's almost over. I go, oh, darn, I don't have the comic with me. So I call my wife up, and I'm like, okay, well, the show's almost over anyway. Can you grab the Conan off the wall? Because I think I left it on the wall. So she goes, okay, yeah, I think I can make it there in about 15, 20 minutes. She races down. I talked to Roy, and he says, well, I'm leaving in a few minutes. I'm only, if you catch it before I go, then yeah. So he's leaving in 15 minutes. So she races in the car, comes down, pulls up, texts me. I run out to the parking lot, grab the comic still in the frame, and I race back in. Roy Thomas's booth is already packed up, and he's leaving. Like, he's walking away. All of his stuff is packed up. Everything's empty, and he's out the door. I go, I can't get, I don't have, I mean, I can hand, but I can't get the screws out of the back of it. I don't have a drill with me at the comic show. I don't have a screwdriver. So I'm like, do something. So he's like, well, I'll see what I can do. And he signs right there on the glass, on the UV glass. So he signed it. Roy Thomas signed the frame, not the comic, but the frame. Cool thing is, if I want to take out and put like first appearance of Vision or something else in there, I can swap out comic books, and any comic book has Roy Thomas' signature. So kind of a funny story, but that's the only bad thing that I've found about the 4 screws. Otherwise, they're pretty secure.